In central China, a man has died following an outbreak of an unknown pneumonia-like virus, which officials say comes from the same family as the deadly SARS virus.
Many hundreds of others have come into contact with an infected person.
New figures show the number of people killed by the virus, the coronavirus, jumped by 97 on Sunday.
Unwelcome but expected, the coronavirus has hit the UK.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
You must stay at home.
Obviously, we didn't know what we were dealing with COVID when it first happened, and it was uncertain times. So to start with, I was very much just like, I'm battening down the hatches, I'm doing the thing.
Like, the events world just stopped. It was really difficult. I think, like, we didn't know what was going to happen, what was next.
When COVID hit, obviously, not DJing.
We couldn't really go out on nights out. We lived in this massive uni house, there was 12 of us, and we couldn't really go and do anything, so...
It was like a long period when events and that wasn't happening. And I think, like, personally for me, I started to, like, lose that spark a little bit.
The rave scene in Bristol was it was underground. There was squat parties everywhere. There was, like, you know, I'd be walking out of one rave into another one that was in the front of a warehouse.
More carefree, a bit more like free party kind of style.
Parties that I go to were absolutely rammed. Like, they had to get security on the door for one of them because there was like hundreds and hundreds of people.
It was naughty. It was naughty. It would just appeal to all of my, like, oh, we're not really supposed to be doing this kind of side.
There was just a plethora of events.
Black Swan was grotty, but grotty in a beautiful way.
Black Swan's one of those ones where people would go there and they'd sit outside all night.
When I first started going there, it was the beer garden was like just mud with like a few benches and a massive fire pit.
Because it'd be so full, it'd be full enough so you could have a full dance floor and then a whole hundreds of people out in the smoking area, little fire pit, and that was really cool as well.
There was the whole uproar of like, oh my God, they've paved over it and they've put a patio out here, and we were like, what's happened to the fire pit?
I think Rumble was at its absolute peak when they were doing Black Swan events.
And they just didn't care about sound restrictions. They just don't. The Jamaican culture of like sound systems is brilliant because they're just like more. More is not enough, you know. And it's just like that's what Black Swan did. It just enveloped you.
You'd venture off into the dark, scary, low ceiling room, and you'd be like, yo, this is sick. Like, everyone's just like losing themselves and not like worrying about what they look like.
Everyone was there for the same reasons. I think it was like a proper pure group of ravers that would go to Black Swan because they were going for the right reasons. I think it was maybe a bit less performative, because its weird reputation maybe actually meant that people that were fully committed to going would go.
Bristol people, do you remember when we used to do this at the Black Swan?
Think about authenticity, like, you know, I've got a smile on my face thinking about Blue Mountain. Like,
a real big loss was Blue Mountain, because that was like you'd make a lot of friends and you could go there on your own and you'd see people you saw last time. Blue Mountain was where everybody met everybody. It was a real cool community. It was the kind of place where the artists wouldn't just play their set and leave. They'd play their set and they'd stick around, and then in the smoking area you'd see all the people you want to chat to. A lot of networking there. Before, it would be like you might get a booking just from being the friendly guy in the smoking area with a lighter. And now it's maybe like from social media.
Electric shit on the stages, performing on a weekly basis. Turn pro, got professional status. A case of when, not if he makes it. Yes, bro. Keep riding away, go with the flow, surfing the pain.
It would be amiss to not talk about how TikTok popped off in COVID and lockdown.
So the difficulty that came with COVID is the social media, like, blast that happened as well. I know it's used as a tool now, and it's used to get yourself out there. I don't like it because it doesn't feel real.
It used to be a lot more community focused and people were just enjoying themselves rather than worrying about what everyone else is doing.
I was very resistant to it anyway, and this was even before COVID. I was dating a DJ at the time. Like, she was very much just like, look, you've got to use this.
people, man. Why not? Yeah, do me for slander if you want. Yeah, step to the rhythm made out of a plastic bag. I went down to the offie to get myself a packet of bags.
You know, people are capturing content, they're sharing content, they're doing it all the time, and you've kind of got to like keep on top of that and keep being present and like keep being innovative and cool and fun and like, you know, everyone is like marketing now. It's not just your marketing manager, it's not just like posters there.
Because I was from the era of putting up a poster and handing out a mixtape and making that connection, being like, yo, take this home. It was just an enjoyable aspect of it. So like social media then was the only thing that we could lean on through COVID. It was the only way you could get yourself out there doing live streams all the time, and you know, it was the only sort of like sense of expression. But the problem with social media, it can make people very, very self-centered because they are then the main character of their own life. Now everybody is the main character of their own life, but sometimes they need to realise when they've got to play the tambourine.
I think social media has also made that worse because when you put a post on social media, you're aiming for someone to see it, whether people want to admit it or not, it's the truth. And so I think when they've grown up with that, they're always thinking about how they're being perceived all the time.
It became less about we and became more about me. You didn't have to earn your stripes in the same way. I had to go out. If I wasn't playing a gig, I'd be at a gig. You had to be a face on there. You had to go and put the hard work in. You had to go and meet these people, be respectable, pay respect to your elders, you know, and that kind of went out the window. There was this sense of entitlement, and this is all matter of opinion.
I would document everything on social media to try and push my bookings and try and get more bookings, but like actually having reflected on it, the source of that booking would be through someone that I knew, and then I'd get more and more bookings from that person. Despite being quite active on social media at the time, I didn't really realise it, but it was definitely more like my network that was getting me those bookings, yeah.
You can still get loads of, like, the best way to get bookings is to be that friendly guy in the smoking area.
But also on the positive side, it's more accessible than it ever has been, which I think is brilliant because it means anybody can give it a go, because music was so difficult to get into anyway. So it's nice that people do, you know, it's double-edged sword again.
Obviously COVID had a negative impact on a lot of people, and for my mental health, definitely a negative impact, but for career-wise, I think maybe actually helped.
This place came along in COVID. I was booked here, there was a crew running it, and they booked me and a few of us to DJ here. One of the guys owning it was on the phone in the corridor, and he's like, oh, I need a sound engineer to do this. And I was just like, man, what do you need? I'm here. I'll help you out with whatever you need. And he was like, cool, come in next week and we'll see what you got. He was like, have you ever done live streams before? And I'd literally never like set one up. I was just like, yeah, of course, man. Like, I've got that, I'll do that. I actually got my dream job from being at the right place at the right time. So this place might be one of the few really positive things to come from a terrible situation, for me personally and for a lot of other people.
Also, what a beautiful aspect of social media has done. It's got youngers involved who then want to be like, I want to go to the rave.
It's like a bit of a COVID generation, right? Like, it pulled a lot of people out.
Turning 18 in lockdown, you got to wait like 3 years, 2, 3, however long it was, till you can actually go out.
And when they finally get out to, you know, if you're 21 and you've not done it from 18, 19, 20, like you're rediscovering in a different way.
I remember going out and there always being quite a diverse age range, and you would kind of learn from the older generation how to conduct yourself and how to act.
You have a moment where you can like teach them the ways, as it were. Like, this is the unity, this is the family, you pay respect, you pay homage, all of this.
And there's so much like education and knowledge sharing and like, oh mate, have you seen this mix, or have you heard this, or do you know who X, Y, or Z is? Like,
when you go out when you're 18, you're a little lamb, like, to the slaughter, you know what I mean? Like, you got to find out a few things the hard way.
Like, if you were at uni from 18 to 21 and you're like kind of only really sat in your student halls or your homes drinking, and then you go out to dance floors and you drink in the same way, we all know it does not end well, does it?
When it comes to first-time ravers, you can often tell, because they're a bit timid, they play it safe sometimes, or sometimes they will go for it thinking, whatever. fuck it.
They had that pack mentality where if I feel nervous, so I'm going to keep that nervous aspect. And you saw the rave wasn't about looking up at this DJ and being unified. You had pockets of people. And I was sort of like on stage a few times being like, yo, is everybody here? Is everybody having a nice time?
Now it's a bit more like social groups and slightly less welcoming, which is a shame. People used to just move out of the way for you. Brushes past him in the shoulder and he's like, oh, dickhead, oh. You'd be like, oh, sorry, mate, yeah, cheers, mate, yeah, nice one, cheers, cheers, cheers. And now people are just like,
Felt for me for a while where this disconnect was happening, when nobody was like, I'm in my group of friends, so I'm going to be here because I'm safe, you know? Because COVID created a lot of uncertainty.
The immediate aftermath and events was like people wanted more space.
It's starting to get a bit better now, but I mean, there was certainly a massive drop in it. People were a bit less involved with people, like people were a bit more spread out.
It was a lot harder to knock the sides off of them. Like I was, you know, I get insecure like everybody does, so it's very difficult sometimes to sort of like relax myself to try and be that conduit between the DJ and the crowd when the crowd don't look like they want to be there.
Because the whole reason I think a lot of people would go from like clubbing to raving would be like the friendly social diversity.
When I'm performing, I like doing the plus 16 raves because I like getting in there first and being like, this is how this works. And I like go very TED talky and I'm like, we're here, this is a family, this is unity, we're in this together or we're not in it at all. The culture of raving and being in the scene and being in there was all about unity and family. Because I never felt at home before I found the rave. I always struggled with finding my place. So the rave was the place where I did it. So I want everybody else to feel that lovely connection that you have where you're like, you know, I can spot somebody on the front row and we just lock eyes and there's just this really nice thing of like, I don't know anything about you, but I just know that whatever you're going through right now doesn't matter because we're all good.
It'd be nice to turn around to our kids in the future and go, actually, do you know what? That's where your mum and I, you know, your dad and I met, you know? I met him down at SWX before it burnt. Yeah, that's where I met my current husband, which is great.
If I didn't get to go, I wouldn't have any of my friends. I wouldn't be in this world because I fell in love with this world even more. Found it way more interesting than my degree. Planning events and putting on parties. And like that all came from like going out, going to Motion, going to Blue Mountain, going to Lakota, going to like Take 5, Basement 45, like all these places. I'd go out like 2-3 times a week. And like, because that's what we did.
In the last 4 years, the UK has lost 37% of its clubs, about 10 a month. One recent poll finding 7 out of 10 businesses are either barely breaking even or operating at a loss.
In one of my lectures, one of my lecturers said Bristol has a tendency to replace venues that close, and it's very unique in that sense, but like venues that close, they tend to replace it with another one and it has a cycle. But I run events in Bristol for like five years. I think it's now getting to the point where it's not continuing.
There was so much option, like it was really diverse, like in terms of venues and like competition and artists and everything. It's so much harder now. Like the bottom lines are more difficult, things are just more expensive. I think also in terms of like the event organisation world, I think there is just less options.
The smaller venues are closing down, promoters can't book, they have to spend a fortune running an event and there's only a few promoters that have the resources to do that. And then they also have the monopoly on the DJs for the night, so a lot of the power is being taken away.
It's like you've got to start somewhere and it's sort of robbing people of like those opportunities as well. It's just like they need a starting platform and a starting space where they can go.
It's a real shame that maybe someone that wants to put on an event is being swayed by the fact that they can't afford to do it anymore.
But at the same time, look at the economy we're in today.
Someone sends you a link and you're like, that looks sick, how much is it?
Find me someone who can afford going out every week. Find me someone, especially when you've got some tickets that are like 20, 30, 40 quid.
20 quid, like, that's like 4 pints. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot to get in the door, but it's not a lot to chuck at the barman. Say if you went to a £5 night and you had 20 quid on you, if that was your budget and there was a £5 in, you still got 3/4 of the budget to enjoy yourself. So if you're paying 20 quid to get in, and if that's a quarter of your budget, you're looking at spending like 50, 60, 70, 80 quid on a night.
For some people, that's a week's worth of food. So it's justifying.
That's why I do constantly keep doing these attic events, because they're a £5 entry, because I think anybody should be able to come and rave. Like, if the Full Moon in the attic go, that's Stokes Croft gone.
It's a big problem in Bristol, like loads of places are going because the land's being developed on.
There's so much development going on in Bristol.
It will just be sort of flats and where people will live. You know, there'll still be a couple of live venues and up and down like Gloucester Road and stuff, but, you know, Stokes Croft was sort of like petering out bit by bit even before COVID.
And there's not really a lot of things which are like policies and laws which are protecting venues, so I don't unfortunately see it bouncing back.
The scene struggles anyway, it does, but it goes through ebbs and flows.
It's a revolving door. It's like, if there's no nightclubs to have parties, then we'll have parties here. Oh, you don't want us to have parties here? Well, then you better open some nightclubs.
If the clubs shut down, the illegal raves will pop off. That's what will happen. It will just, the rave doesn't stop because there's nowhere to do it. They'll find somewhere to do it, you know? And people will just come out with their rigs and be like, oh, game on.
If there was no nightclubs, that's where we would all go, is we would all find a space to do it.
There will be new venues, like there's always going to be new venues, and I think that's really healthy.
They closed X amount of clubs in Bristol and they opened 2 absolutely massive ones in Document and Underground.
What we need to do across Bristol and across the UK is create space for those new venues to come through and to like thrive, to be able to develop Bristol and to be able to develop like, you know, just music and the scene.
Protect the venues, but then it's also like you need to look at protecting the promoters.
In my ideological world, there will be new venues popping up, there'll be new artists coming through.
You need new ideas, new people to sort of like bring their spark, or else it is just going to be the same shit.
That's kind of hopefully where it goes, because we keep experimenting, keep exploring and keep finding new things and new ways to kind of connect with people. You know, there is a world in which like the scene can be really damaged, but I'm not going to imagine that, so we're not manifesting any sort of negativity.
They seem to be getting more unified. There's less of these pockets of people now. It's more like, oh, we're here together again.
There's always going to be a need and a requirement for events and for music. Like, you take away music, like the world's just like a really boring place, right? So
if you go to these grassroots ones, you're going to discover something that you might not knew you needed to hear. You're also going to get some people that maybe need to go and do some more work. Because you go there with no expectation, you are completely open to whatever you experience. When you are going to these bigger events, you have an expectation on them. And I think the beauty of music is when you go in completely open-minded with no unrealistic expectation on it, that's when you get the purest form of it. You could discover the next Andy C and he'd be playing his first set and you could be like, I was at that gig. Gives me like, yeah. And I think that's what the beauty of grassroots music is.
I wanna rave like back in the day. I wanna rave like I travel through time. Used to wear trackies and caps in the rave. Didn't wear smart shoes, wore my Nikes. I just came through to say big up and say I'm looking at the yellow smiley face. I was the king of just riding the wave. I could confirm that not much of that's changed. I wanna rave like back in the day. My DJ was on acetate. Yeah, I moved to the B line, ran up the waist. I want the speaker in my face. Let's go some next place just for the day. I wanna rewind that decade. Omni trio with the renegade snares on the remix was foul play. Hey, flashback to the late nights in the Raz main room in the fabric. Let's go, champ. Rewind to the grey mornings in Victoria Station, gone to ham. Bang, hitting a new city with a gang. Of course, I walked past that door, man. These times I went touring, all but my friends who got real jobs now. Rave like back in the day. I wanna rave like I travel through time. No guest list, I'll stand in the line. Final mixing, double drop the 9. I wanna dance like I'm 16 again. I wanna set my plans tomorrow. The old me and me meet again. Standard procedures follow.
I wanna rave like back in the day. Won't hold back in the nighttime, rolling no mistake.